So excited to have Lucas Coleman on the show from World Trade Center San Diego. We talk all about what the World Trade Center can do for local businesses here in San Diego. They have some amazing programs, Metro Connect, and some awesome spots to check out. Let's tune in. Thanks so much for tuning into Waz Up San Diego. Today I am joined by Lucas Coleman from World Trade Center San Diego. Excited to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about the World Trade Center. We were kind of diving into this a little bit before getting on camera, but you help local businesses here in San Diego either help with their export business and or bring in kind of foreign dollars.
Right. So, I mean, to back up a little bit, World Trade Center San Diego is the international team within a larger organization called the San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation. But essentially what I do is I work with businesses here in San Diego that are looking to access international markets. So I'm helping them export. But aside from that, our organization also is working with investors from abroad to try and maximize opportunities here in San Diego. You know, if they want to hire a San Diegan, set up a facility here, we'll work with them. And also just in general, kind of enhancing our region's global brand, right? Sometimes you get lost in the shadow of the Bay Area and Los Angeles.
Big brother up right up the street, Los Angeles.
Yeah, but San Diego's good at a lot of different things too, and it's important when we go abroad to international markets for them to know that we're a huge biotech hub and that, you know, our defense and aerospace capability here, you know, there's a lot of opportunities here to grow, I think, and it's important for those overseas to know that.
Absolutely, and just the lifestyle of living in San Diego to attract some of those companies too as well. Personally, I'm born and raised San Diego, but it's a little bit slower here, but it's still big enough there's so much to do here. And I think a lot of people who can work remotely or have, you know, hey, I could take this job here in San Diego or I could take this job in the Midwest and it's very similar. It's like, well, why wouldn't I want to live in one of the greatest cities in the country?
Oh, I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, I'm a typical San Diegan, meaning I'm from the Bay Area. From the Bay Area.
Transplant.
I came down here, I went to San Diego State, and you know, if you can secure
alumni as well.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you can secure a job down here, I think you're crazy to leave.
Yeah.
But just a funny thing about, you know, talking about those overseas, San Diego is also the same pronunciation in, I think, Chinese as Santiago, Chile. And so there's some confusion about what continent we're on when we're overseas sometimes, right? So that's why it's important for us to go overseas and kind of build our global brand. But yeah, I think it's great that, you know, a lot of people are realizing that our region's growing, and as long as I can stay here, I plan on being a San Diegan.
I love it. So kind of taking one step back. So say a company here in San Diego is looking to they need help, you know, opening to other markets in other parts of the world. What kind of services and how do they kind of get involved with that?
Right, and that's right up our alley, and that's actually what I spend most of my time doing at work. So we run a program called Metro Connect, and it's actually accepting applications right now, and we encourage companies to look into it. But essentially what it is, it's a program meant to help companies export and access those international markets. We work with a variety of partners from across our region, and we equip these companies who participate with a grant, right? $5,000 to $10,000. Then over the course of a year, we provide a suite of services through our partners to help them do that. And so what this might look like, you get access to free translation software when you're part of the program. We've partnered with 5 of our international airlines. So Air Canada, American Airlines, British Airways, Lufthansa, Japan Airlines are all partners giving significant discounts to our companies.
Keeping their costs low as they're kind of getting over there.
Exactly. I mean, something our companies have told us, you know, over the years we've been able to solicit feedback and learn what companies really need. And they say, especially for, you know, some of the Asian markets, it's important to go face to face, to go to trade shows, to get in front of your potential customers and your distributors, to make that connection, build a relationship. But that gets really expensive, and so they asked us, what can you do about that? Well, something that our organization does is, you know, we're very well connected in our region. We have more than 180 of the largest institutions investing significantly for us to advance our economic development agenda.
Wow.
And so, you know, through those partnerships, we're able to, you know, give the companies that we work with some perks and benefits to help them go overseas and expand, because it's good for our economy here too. We've seen just in the last year, we saw these companies that were in the program generate more than 100 quality jobs here in San Diego also. And
it's huge.
that's really what we're trying to do in economic development, is strengthen the local economy by helping companies go abroad.
And for the most part, it is kind of smaller businesses. So those dollars that are being generated by that company is all staying here in San Diego too as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's high growth companies here in San Diego, they tend to be small, medium-sized businesses. So the growth that we see, it's translating to hires here. I think, we generally see companies between 500K and 100 million in revenue. So it's pretty wide.
It's pretty broad spectrum.
It's pretty broad, yeah. But we can help small companies in a different way than we might help a bigger company. So, for a small company, they might never have even dipped their toes in international business and exporting. And so we can give them a lot of export education. For the bigger companies, it's some of those partnerships that we've created with that broad coalition. So being able to take advantage of a lot of different services and save thousands of dollars, whereas you might not even have taken those steps. Legal help is expensive. You might not even have done that. If you're a smaller company too, but now you're starting to look at stuff like GDPR and data privacy in European markets.
I agree. You're a smaller company bootstrapping and trying to just explore, navigate. Where do I even start? I want to break into, somewhere in Asia or Europe or Canada. It's got to be overwhelming.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. One of the companies from this past cohort, actually, their name is Eddie Pump. They're based in El Cajon. And that's something I like also, is that we have a geographic diversity within San Diego of the companies that we work with. But what they do is...
So is it all San Diego County?
It's San Diego County is the MSA for San Diego, the region. So we work with all companies in our county, up from Oceanside and Carlsbad, all the way down to Chula Vista.
Gotcha.
But the company that I want to tell you about here, Eddie Pump, they design and engineer these massive pumps and dredging equipment that can be used in the oil, gas, and mining industries. Their pumps are also actually used on Navy ships for desalination.
Okay.
But for a company in the mining industry, as you might expect, a lot of your opportunities tend to be outside of the United States. And for them specifically, it was in Latin American markets. But they didn't have a lot of expertise in that. They were still just dipping their toes. And so they were able to come into our program, use the translation software that was complementary to translate their marketing materials into Spanish, and then use the cash grant we provided to then use a pay-per-click campaign and then blast their message across those markets. And they're able to directly turn that into a $3 million sale in the Dominican Republic.
That's massive.
And using that, once you have the credibility, then you can kind of go to other countries and say, hey, Barrick Gold Corporation, the largest gold mining company
Here's
in the world.
my proof of success. Look at what we can do, and we can replicate this.
Right,
everywhere.
And they were able to. Another thing we did, we introduced them to a retiring or a transitioning military veteran who had experience in foreign military sales, and so he's now working with them, and they've secured a contract with the Chilean Navy, which is worth millions of dollars also. And so I think the cool thing is we're just able to help companies in a variety of ways. Leveraging the different resources that we have as the Economic Development Corporation here in San Diego.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so if a company did want to get involved with Metro Connect and kind of submit an application, how would they go about doing that?
Sure, there's a 30 to 45 minute application online. If you actually go to our website, sandiegobusiness.org, you can get all the information on the website, some success stories from the past 4 years, and get an idea of what the different benefits look like. But as I said, it's like a 30 to 45 minute application. And so you can do that now through January 31st. I don't know, how many years past this people are going to be listening to this podcast, but it's 2020 right now. But yeah, January 31st is the deadline for that.
But I'm sure this is kind of an annual thing, so they can, even if they miss that deadline and 2021 comes up quicker than you know it. Yeah,
ideally we keep this program going in perpetuity. It's been one of the most successful that we've run out of the Economic Development Corporation and World Trade Center. So it's one that we're very proud of. The interesting thing is it's actually being emulated by economic development organizations across North America right now. Just a couple weeks ago, my boss was in Sacramento meeting with the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, and they want to use this model, the Metro Connect model, to replicate in cities around the great state of California.
Wow, so just statewide.
Yeah, and none of this would be possible without the sponsors that we work with. JP Morgan Chase actually helped us lift this program up. They gave us a huge grant in the beginning, and for several years they were doing that to help us fund this program and help small businesses. we knew that money wouldn't continue on in perpetuity. So over the years, we've diversified our revenue streams, and now we're working with a coalition of more than a dozen partners throughout our region. So yeah, it's been a great model, and it's one that other cities are kind of taking note of, and we're going to be seeing more of that, I think, in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. You mentioned you're from the Bay Area. It's so funny because it's very rare to meet a
from the Bay.
Local, Bay, and even we were talking to a couple others, just East Coast. So what really drew you to San Diego to kind of come here, and how did you get involved with World Trade Center?
Yeah, so I went to San Diego State, and Aztecs, I think we're 18-0 now.
Only undefeated team, I think,
Only undefeated
right now.
team, and I want to go to the game where they retire Kawhi's jersey.
Yep.
I think that's coming up in a week or two. But I came down here for school, but I think what really drew me, and the reason I wanted to stay so bad afterwards, is that there's just so much to do here in San Diego, and we're really blessed. You can be skydiving in the morning down by the border at Skydive San Diego. You can go out just off the coast here. We're in PB, and a mile or two out there are a couple shipwrecks, and you can scuba dive. You can spend an afternoon in PB, or you can spend the afternoon in Mission Bay and wakeboard or ride wave runners. And if you really want to, you can go out and drive 2.5 hours and go snowboarding also. And I love snowboarding, but I think just the amount of stuff that you can do here if you're an active person, I think when you pair that with the types of work that people are doing here, curing cancer, building robots that, autonomous systems for vehicles and drones, and it's very mission-driven work. And when you combine those two things, I think you get a special type of person that lives in San Diego. And that's really my favorite thing about this region.
I agree. And kind of going back to where it does just attract this amazing talent pool.
Yeah.
That is, I couldn't think of a better place to live. That's why I've never left. I used to travel around for work around the country, and just every single time I would fly in, this was always home.
Yeah.
So, and where exactly are the shipwrecks? I've personally never been into scuba diving.
This Crystal Pier right here, I think it's straight out from where we're at right now. We're at Crystal Pier in PB, and it's directly 2 miles out. My buddy's a dive master. I went to San Diego State with him, and he's kind of bounced around a bit too. He was like cleaning ships in the Cayman Islands, or living with some family out there, and he's done a stint in Southeast Asia. But he showed us the shipwrecks out here, and they're like 100 feet down. Full disclosure, I'm not cleared to go 100 feet down, but when you're with a buddy who's a dive master, you
feel a little more comfortable doing it.
You can do that, yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I have actually never gone scuba diving. I have a lot of friends who are super into it. It's just never been.
I would say if you want to get licensed, and I think you should, because it makes vacations a lot more fun. But I got my license out in Southeast Asia when I was in Thailand. And not only is it like a third of the price to do it out there, and a lot of the instructors are actually Westerners who went out there because they were sick of the 9 to 5 or they just wanted to retire. So they all speak perfect English too. But not only that, but in the training, you actually get to do it in the ocean rather than in a pool. There's a little bit of book work. I mean, you're just kind of reading over kind of the rules, but you actually get to do it when you're being trained. And I think that makes it better because you're not wasting 3 days.
Yeah, going out in the ocean versus, I didn't realize you had to do it in a pool here. That's news to me as well.
Well, yeah, I've never done it here too, but that's my understanding of it, is that you have to do it in a pool because it's more regulation. Yeah. And where's your favorite place that you've been around the world?
In the world, well, me and my wife, we just got back from Tulum, which is amazing. I love Mexico. I love tacos and tequila. It's kind of a soft spot for it.
Yeah, my girlfriend's been asking me about Tulum. I've never been there.
Yeah, the white sand, the beaches. I'm definitely kind of a beach guy. I love Hawaii too as well. Very San Diego vibe. I feel like a lot of people, especially from like the Encinitas, Solana Beach area, kind of relocate out there. I just get island fever to where like I want to be able to just go wherever I want to go. Still has, spectacular weather. It's a little bit cloudy today. We're actually at Water Bar in Pacific Beach, our new kind of location.
Yeah.
And the food, there's world-class dining everywhere around here. Like the food and the seafood here is spectacular.
It's gone better. You have some of the places that Malarkey's opened downtown. Do you have a favorite spot?
Well, now that I recently have I got a 2-year-old and a newborn, so we don't go out nearly as much as I used to. Like we used to bring clients out and go to like Japingo's and go to all these other different kind of restaurants, but now it's not nearly as much as I'd like to. A couple years when things get back to normal, that'll definitely pick up.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I'm not really much of a foodie. I will say if there's a place that I've eaten a lot of lately, it's Thai Orient Cafe in PB. And I don't know if it's necessarily that I love the food or that it's a block away from my house. But I've had it like
it's a combination of both.
4 last weekend straight. And it's got to be the convenience thing, because I've Postmates it half the time that I've eaten there also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been eating there a lot. I love sushi. I love Japanese food. I actually did a year abroad in Japan, in the old imperial capital of Kyoto. And Japan's the kind of place where you can go to the gas station or a 7-Eleven and get world-class
sushi.
Yeah, it's better than anything you get here, you know?
Oh my gosh, my wife's gotten sushi from somewhere, and I'm just like, I could never do it unless I was just at a sushi restaurant. That's just...
Have you ever done conveyor belt sushi?
No, I haven't. I've seen videos of it. It looks like fun.
Yeah, it's coming by on a conveyor belt. Whatever you see that you like, you just grab it, and at the end they just count up plates. I think my record's like 24 plates of sushi. And this is back when I was like a 20-year-old in college.
And just crushing food.
And I got there, and the drinking age in Japan is 20. So I was like, all right, Christmas came early.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. So that was a fun first week in Japan. I ate my heart out there.
Well, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show and, teaching our audience a little bit about the World Trade Center San Diego.
Absolutely.
Again, I'm not sure when you're going to be watching this episode, but check out Metro Connect. Application process ends January 31st, you said.
Right.
And if you missed the 2020 deadline, reach out.
And also, even if you're not in the program, we're always happy to work with businesses. World Trade Center, we're really focused on businesses looking to do business internationally and sell overseas.
Okay.
But we're part of a larger organization, the San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation, that works with all businesses in San Diego, from Qualcomm on down to brand new startups, And we're very tied into the rest of the business community, the different organizations around here too. So I'd say, even if you're not going to join the program, feel free to reach out to us, sandiegobusiness.org. But again, January 31st is the deadline for Metro Connect, and I'd be happy to work. You'd be working with me, so
okay, perfect. And
be
do
happy to work with
you want to share your email or any?
Sure, lc@sandiegobusiness.org is my work email. You can check me out on LinkedIn or Twitter, Coleman Worldwide, minus the O in world. But yeah, thanks for having me today.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. And thanks so much for tuning in to Waz Up San Diego. We are here at Water Bar, and we will see you next time.